A good game is a bit like a good meal. Sure, you can follow a recipe step by step and make something that looks just like the photo, but there's something special in knowing when to go off script, to season by taste and toss something unexpected into the mix. That's where the magic happens, and that's what Claire a la Mode feels like to me. A game that takes familiar ingredients from arcade platformers, mixes them with the developer's signature flair for sprite work and sound, and bakes it all into something that feels both nostalgic and new. If you haven't heard of Colorgrave previously, they're an indie team I've really come to admire. They jump between genres constantly. One game might be a farming sim, another a Zelda-style dungeon crawler, or a pure platformer, but they all share that same house flavour. Great sprite work, era-appropriate music that absolutely slaps, and a recurring cast of weird little characters who feel like they're part of the same travelling company. I haven't loved every single dish they've served, but I've always appreciated the way they experiment, and just for transparency, I did receive Claire a la Mode for free, and I actually make a tiny cameo in it. That being said, I want to be fair in how I talk about their latest work. So what's this one about? Well, you play as Claire and her friends, a crew of bakers competing in a citywide cooking contest. But of course there's a twist. A scheming queen bee is buying up property all over town, trying to dominate the city through a sugary kind of capitalism. It's a light and funny premise that fits right in with the rest of Colorgrave's universe. The real meat, or sponge I guess, comes from the gameplay. It's an arcade-inspired platformer with a mix of horizontal and vertical levels that remind me a lot of Super Mario Bros. 2. The US version, that is. Instead of jumping on enemies, you throw gumballs and baked goods at them to knock them out. Each stage ends with a themed boss fight that toys with a specific mechanic, maybe a match-free puzzle, an obstacle escape, or a reflex-based challenge. It's all pretty inventive stuff. You also get a small lineup of playable characters, each with their own twist. Claire can whip up baked goods mid-level and chuck them like quick-use projectiles. Madison, the fish girl, can create a protective bubble that bounces her around and smashes blocks below her. And Resolve, the Dragon Girl, does this big leaping uppercut that blasts through enemies above. They're all controlled differently enough to make experimenting between them worth it. You can even play together with a co-op partner if you want to blend their strengths together. Visually, this might be my favourite Colorgrave game so far. They've stepped away from the somewhat muted Game Boy Color style palette of Verisys and April Grove and gone for something that feels straight out of an 80s arcade cabinet. It's still got small, chibi style sprites, but the colours are richer, the effects pop, and the whole thing has this fizzy, candy-coated energy to it. You can tell the team had fun turning the sugar theme into an aesthetic, and overlaying it with some high-energy tracks. There's also a clever twist on the traditional arcade format. If you lose all your lives, instead of getting kicked back to the title screen, you're sent to a kind of limbo hub where you can spend your collected coins and trinkets to unlock new characters or palettes. It's a cool bit of in-between, a chance to catch your breath, explore and upgrade before jumping back into the chaos. It makes the challenge feel less punishing and gives you a reason to keep replaying. My main criticism, not that it really is much of one, is what's changed since its initial Next Fest demo, which I covered back at the beginning of the year. There was an initial tease that levels would be a 50-50 blend of both conventional obstacle courses and single-screen puzzle rooms. Those sections, like dodging flames while preheating an oven or icing a cake with a turret, was such a fun way to break up the action. In the full release, those ideas are still around, but a bit more diffuse across all the regular stages, rather than standing alone. It's not a bad change, just a different recipe. The final game feels more streamlined and focused on action platforming, almost like a miniaturized version of their game Cursed Crackers, but I do think that extra mix of objectives would have given it even more flavour. That said, don't be fooled by its sweet visuals. This game has real bite to it. The controls can feel a little slippery at times and enemies don't mess around. It's got that proper arcade challenge where you'll probably die a few times chasing collectibles or pulling off fancy jumps, but honestly that's part of the charm. It feels tuned for co-op too, though I didn't quite get a chance to round up any bakers in the kitchen before recording this. All that said, I really recommend Claire a la Mode. It's a strong entry point if you've never played a Colorgrave game before. Simple controls, satisfying challenge, and tons of charm. And if you're already a fan, this is just another gold star on their resume. It proves again that Colorgrave knows how to remix classic game design into something that feels fresh, heartfelt, and completely of their own. Like any good baker, they understand that a recipe is only the starting point. It's how you mix it that makes the dish. If Claire a la Mode were entered into the Great British Bake Off, then it'd easily snag Star Baker that week and earn the coveted Poor Hollywood handshake. No soggy bottoms in sight.